Welcome to Studio 7, everyone. I'm Mercedes Wilson.
And I'm Kimberly from Sweet Buffalo.
I'm Matt Bove. What's going on, everyone?
Hey, we have a good show today.
We also have a dog.
Yes, because
so there's a
that's
dog.
why.
There's a dog here, and we're just immediately going to be so much happier than we normally. Can you say hi, Chloe? Mm-hmm. Chloe is like under. You can kind of see Chloe's head right now. She is adorable. A 2-year-old golden retriever. Hi, Chloe. And she's just going to hang out here all day, and it's going to be the best day ever. Exactly.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love dogs, right?
I know. And do you have a dog?
I do. I have a cockapoo who is 4 years old named Harper. That is our
Harper.
dog.
Okay.
Harper after Harper Lee, the author. And everybody's like, oh, you're in sports. Is it named after like Bryce Harper? No, my wife named it after Harper. And it was basically like, hey, we're getting a dog and this is what we're naming it. And that's what we're going to do. And I was like, okay, I can't make the rules here. I'm just going to go with it.
Now, the only pet we had was a bunny before my son came back home.
Sure.
And he brought his pit terrier mix.
Okay.
Named Maverick because he moved back from Texas.
I kind of love that name, though. Maverick is a cool dog name.
He is one of the sweetest dogs. He is spoiled rotten.
I bet.
He is spoiled rotten, and I absolutely love it. And then we have a bunny named Ruby.
Well, there's no other way but to spoil your pets.
No, there's no other way. What about you?
Well, I have, Chloe here, and then I have 2 rescue dogs at home. I have Loki. I call him Loki Doki Smoky Artichoke.
I love that.
And then I have Belle, and they're just wonderful. Both rescue. One was a rescue. Belle came from a rescue, Magic's Mission Beagle and Hound Rescue, and Loki came from the SPCA when I was working there. Mm-hmm. And Chloe's actually a rescue dog too. She ended up at a shelter, and then a rescue saved her and brought her to her trainer. And
Nice. So is Loki the brother of Thor?
Yeah, probably.
You know which Loki I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Marvel person, but I know what you're referring to. I mean, I've seen him, but that is who Loki is.
He came with that name, and it was so cool that I just kept
I love that.
Yeah,
Maverick is my 4-year-old grandson. Wow, that's a sweet name for a kid.
It
Maverick is a sick name.
Isn't that
you call
cool?
him like Mav too. I think that's a sick name.
Yeah. Do you know what people always name their dogs too? Sadie.
Sadie?
Yes, so Belle's sister, I fostered Belle's sister, and I named her Sadie too. I don't know why. It comes off the top of your head or something.
Yeah, and that's my nickname. So I'm like, can you stop naming your dog Sadie?
It's like a good name for like a relish or something.
I agree.
Not just a good dog name. So how did you get involved with Sweet Buffalo, and tell everybody a little bit about it, what it is?
Yeah, so Sweet Buffalo is a good news platform in Western New York. I founded it about 8 years ago.
Okay.
And I just wanted to share stories that made a difference in the world. So we help children, families, nonprofits, and animals. So, we just want to do what we can to help. And like I said, a big focus is children and animals. So anything I can do to incorporate the two, whether that's making children smile with an animal or help an animal, I just do all of the above.
And what was the background? How did you get involved in this, and how did you eventually find your way to this?
Yeah, so I have a background in broadcast journalism. I graduated from Buffalo State.
Bang! Let's go! Let's go! Bang!
Yeah. So, I just wanted to take everything I learned and turn it into something positive. I found really early on, I don't want to talk about bad news.
Sure.
I want to do things that help people. So not all our stories are, happy stories, but the happy part is that we're all trying to do what we can to make a difference.
Yeah, it's a really cool platform,
Yeah.
and it's a really good cause too. And I agree with you. As somebody who used to be in news, it can be really heavy at times.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of very serious stuff that you're talking about. So after a little while, I was like, hey, I don't have Sweet Buffalo, but I was like, I'm going to move to sports, and hopefully there's a lot of good things to follow. But then you remember that teams lose, and then people get upset about that too. But sometimes it can be like very overwhelming. News.
Yeah, it can. Kim, what I love about your platform is that you allow people to tell their stories, and it also gives the community at large a chance
Yes.
to kind of join in and say, hey, I want to help too, right? And I'm sure you see I said that way wrong. I'm sure you see a ton of that, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to have our stories all have a call to action. So whether that's, helping a family that's going through a difficult time with a meal train, or helping them with a GoFundMe, or sending gifts to a child in a hospital, or just, helping a dog in need. Like, I always want every story to have a way to help. And because this is a city of good neighbors, you know, usually the community does.
How have you seen the platform grow over the years? You said you started it 8 years ago?
Yeah. It's grown like crazy. And I attribute that to Buffalo. I don't think I could do this anywhere else. It's this city that wants to give back and wants to help, that made it, so big. And everything we do, it just comes from the heart. And there's just so many good people out in the world. Many of our stories have gone viral and made a big difference for the people in the stories. So I'm very proud of that. I want these stories to showcase the heroes in our community and the people doing wonderful things and the people who inspire us as well.
Do you have a story that sticks out? Like one story that you always go back to of like, wow, I can't believe we got that to happen, or I can't believe that did happen?
Well, many of the stories, but one that I usually bring up is Shakira Autry, who saved a gentleman from the blizzard during the snowstorm.
Oh, I remember that story. It was unbelievable.
So that went viral, and a lot of blessings came her way, and then the gentleman's name that needed the help, blessings came his way as well. So that's really what it's all about to me. When I see these people getting the help they need, or I see that a good person is getting rewarded for their good deed, that is what makes me the most happy about sharing these stories at the end of the day.
Yeah. And does Miss Chloe get to go on some visits with you when you go to see people and go to the hospitals or see kids?
Yeah, so pretty soon I'm going to get her all set up to go to Children's Hospital. And right now, Chloe's just been going everywhere with me. So she's been bringing a lot of smiles to people. And with the work I do, a lot of our guests that come and talk to me and share their stories are kind of nervous to do so.
Sure.
But, having a dog there makes them feel better, and petting them, it makes me feel better all the time. So.
Absolutely. Dogs are so comforting.
They
A
are.
well like mannered dog is the best medicine. You sit there in the newsroom, and every once in a while they'll bring in dogs on days when things are heavy, when you cover very serious things. You just kind of want that, like sense of comfort. So sometimes they'll bring dogs into the newsroom, and everybody just kind of, the walls come down a little bit.
Everybody melts.
You get down on a knee, and you're like, "Who's a good boy? Who's a good girl?" And if you don't talk to a dog like that, I think you're a psychopath.
No. Okay, you should have saw Matt when he saw Chloe. He's like, "It's a dog."
Yeah, well,
like
that's
he just
because,
completely changed.
Yeah, dogs are the best. Like, I think there's times when humans stink. There's also times when humans are amazing. Have you ever met a dog that doesn't deserve all the love in the world and just looks at you like you're the most important person that's ever existed? They are amazing. Yeah. Dogs are a miracle.
They are. I'm just saying, I've met a dog.
No, all dogs are good.
No, all dogs are great, but I'm just saying when they're running around sometimes, running all over the place.
Alyssa's doing this thing.
Alyssa says we have to
We're
wrap.
going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Now, some dogs can be a little hype.
Yeah, some dogs can be hyper, but that doesn't mean they're not a good dog. It just means that they're a little bit different. They're a little bit hyper. And maybe you got to come down to their level a little bit. Or get them to calm down.
How do you get them to calm down?
I don't know. Treats. I don't know. We've only had in my life, we've got my dog, and we grew up with a dog, another cockapoo named Ginger.
Yeah.
My mom has a cockapoo now named Molly. And actually, my in-laws have the brother of our dog, also cockapoo named Shay. So we've really only dealt with cockapoos. Like that's just been,
I see.
Yeah. The reason, so my dad grew up in Elma, and he was a hunter, and they had a Cocker Spaniel. And it was like he loved the dog. He had a Cocker Spaniel, he had a Brittany Spaniel, and then I believe his dad had a Basset Hound. Like those were their dogs that they had.
Those barks are priceless.
Yeah, for sure.
They're priceless.
But so my sister, the reason we actually got our dog is my sister came home from school one day, from elementary school, with a petition, and it was signed by all of her like third grade classmates, and it was like Francesca should have a dog. And my mom for years said she was allergic to dogs. She wasn't. She just didn't want it. So my sister brings home this letter, and they're like, "We have to get this girl a dog. We have to."
Yeah.
So then they started doing all the research into like hypoallergenic dogs that don't shed. My dad had a Cocker Spaniel, so he was like, "Ooh, cockapoo, Cocker Spaniel and poodle doesn't
They're cute
shed."
dogs.
Yeah, they are. They can be a little bit crazy sometimes.
Oh, but no. What did you say? Just give them treats, right?
Well, that's okay though. Crazy's not bad.
Well,
Trainer.
Peter said good idea. I agree with you.
Trainer.
Peter
We
said
did a
good
we
idea,
did a
Matt.
trainer.
When in doubt, bribe the dog with treats.
Right? That's what I mean. Like, if you need a dog to calm down, a little scoop of peanut butter is always going to do the trick. So yeah, we ended up getting Ginger, the cockapoo, and then we had Ginger growing up, and she was an amazing dog. And then it was really the only dog my wife was ever acclimated to. So then I was very adamant when we got married. I was like, I need a dog. I was like, I'm a dog person. I need a dog. And she finally caved and was like, well, we can do Harper. She's a cockapoo. This is what we're going to do.
So when my son wanted to come back home, And he's like, well, contemplating bringing the dog. My husband was like, no, we don't want a dog. I don't want him tearing up carpets. I don't want this. And Isaiah's like, he's a really, really good dog, though. My husband's like, no, 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 no. He's going to tear up. When I tell you this dog is so mild-mannered that now when James walks in and he's talking to him and he's petting him, I'm like, oh, so what did you say?
Oh,
Yeah.
So, and he's just like, oh, just be quiet. He just kind of turns, but he turns into exactly what it's like. He just melts. And animals just do that. They just do that. Now, what about cats? Do you have any cats?
I do not have cats.
You have cats.
Yes,
or a cat.
I have a cat. So when I was in college,
Oh,
We're coming back in 5 seconds. Hold the story.
Yeah,
please.
yeah. Welcome back to Studio 7. So during the break, we were talking about
Dogs.
Dogs. And I was asking Kim if she had a cat, but my husband said I plead the fifth. I told the story about how the dog, he was like dead set against us getting a dog.
And now he loves the dog.
And he absolutely loves the dog. But you were telling us about your cat.
yeah. So I got my cat when I was in college. So about 13, 14 years ago, I just walked in the Eastern Hills Mall. I was bored and there was a cat rescue in there. And I just saw this cat walking on top of the cages and she came right up to me, ignored everybody else. And I was like, I want that cat. And she's been with me ever since. So cats are great. She was a great pet to have when I was just, becoming a young adult and living on my own. And she's been with us ever since. She gets along with all the dogs in the house. And
Is she the boss?
No.
No?
No, no, she's not. The dogs bully her. They don't ever hurt her, but they're definitely bullies.
Is she shy, the cat?
Oh, no, she's
No?
not shy. No, she's friendly.
I don't have a lot of exposure to cats because my dad was very allergic to cats. So that was one thing that we were never able to have. But when my sister moved out and eventually went to college, she got a cat. They actually saved a cat from a dumpster. They found a cat, like a litter of cats in a dumpster. They took the cats, they brought them to the SPCA, they kept one of the cats. They had that cat for a while. They named the cat Pancake. So they had Pancake for a while. Now she's got a new cat, and it's like, so they're cat people. But I have never owned a cat, been with a cat, or really spent a lot of time with cats. So I don't have a ton of exposure to them.
Well, you know who loves cats?
Who's that?
Tyler Bass.
Yes. Well, Tyler Bass. So
yes. Talk about that.
Yeah. How did this all happen? Like, because it turned into like a huge thing.
It's still a huge thing.
I know.
They, So a few years ago, Tyler Bass teamed up with Show Your Soft Side, which is a nonprofit that brings in athletes and celebrities in to, show that you can still be tough and be kind to animals. So long story short, he did a photo shoot with our kittens at 10 Lives Club.
Yeah.
And I think when everything happened that year where he was getting bullied online and stuff, people like Googled or searched, what charity Tyler Bass has worked with.
Yeah.
And then 10 Lives Club came up. So then all the Bills fans were just going nuts and donating to the organization. And it was really something special.
How much money did that raise?
More than $400,000.
That's absurd.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. Almost $500,000.
I know.
That's nuts.
I know.
And I mean, obviously.
But cats are very expensive, so that money went to very good use.
Cats are expensive.
Yeah. The 10 Lives Club save more than 3,000 cats a year. We've already saved more than 3,000. So if you put that in money form, that's like little more than $100 a cat.
Okay.
So it's a lot of money.
What is the background of 10 Lives Club? How did this all get kind of formed? And obviously it's super popular now.
Yeah. So 10 Lives Club was formed by my boss more than 20 years ago. She started it in her garage.
Okay.
And it's, expanded to what it is today. We're located at 3741 Lakeshore Road in Blaisdell.
Okay.
And we just, help all the, strays on the streets. People need to rehome their cats. Maybe someone died. We take those cats. We take injured cats, all kinds of friendly cats. We take kittens, adults, seniors, all cats.
Is this a bigger problem with cats than it is with dogs?
I would say not. I would say it's the same problem right now. Western New York, unfortunately, is having a huge problem with animals being abandoned in general all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. So, all the rescues in Western New York need a lot of help right now.
Yeah.
Are we seeing like spikes around maybe the holidays where people can struggle more, or is it just constant year round?
No, right now I think it's just all the time. I don't know if it's the economy or what, but people are just, I don't know if they've gotten accustomed to thinking it's okay to just abandon their dogs, but they're just everywhere. And a lot of these dogs are owned dogs, and people are just leaving them. They're like tying them up, near rescues and where you're not supposed to. Nobody's even there. And it's just, it's really sad. So if you have the time, please foster. If you can't adopt, please foster an animal or volunteer or whatever.
I think that too, and obviously there's not a direct correlation, but when the pandemic happened, a lot of people looked for their companion. They were like, oh, I want to get a cat, I want to get a dog. And then they were used to being home. They were used to having the time to, put that towards a pet. And then the real world happened. Maybe it was returned to office, or maybe their life changed or something. And then they were like, I don't exactly know what to do. Now, hopefully those people were able to rehome their animals or to, give them to the SPCA or 10 Lives Club or whatever it is. But, sometimes people don't. So, I mean, my sister found her cat in a garbage can. Like, how messed up is that? That even can happen.
Isaiah's dog was a rescue too. They
Yeah.
found him wandering around the woods, and he was a fabulous. And somebody had obviously trained him. He had a chip in him and everything. Like, and they found the owner. They said, no, we don't.
Yep. That's
Right.
what I mean. There's
Yeah.
plenty of fabulous animals that
Yeah.
are in shelters or rescues right now, and you wouldn't even know. You'd think, how did this dog end up here? Well, lots of them end up there.
How
Yeah.
competitive is it to get dogs that are, I don't want to say more desired breeds, but, that are a little bit more specific? Like for us, for example, when we were going through the process of trying to find a hypoallergenic dog, we tried to rehome a golden doodle that we had come in a family. They couldn't handle the golden doodle. And then you look into all of these different shelters and all of these different places, but it's not super easy to find, a cockapoo or something, or even a golden retriever. Like the fact that a golden retriever was up for adoption is nuts to me. What does that balance look like, and how do you find that if you are somebody who has limitations at what you can take on?
Yeah, I would say, apply early, apply to, as many rescues as you can, so that way you're pre-approved to adopt. So that way when you do see that pet that you do want, you're more likely to get it because they've already done a vet check through you. They've already, talked to you. They know you're a
that's
good
a good idea.
candidate. And then you're more of a shoo-in than if you just see the dog and then want to apply. But
That was the thing that we ran into, because it was our first pet together. Like my wife had never had one. So they ask you a lot of questions.
Yep.
Do you have a fence?
They do.
No. Do you have any other dogs? No. Have you owned a dog before? Not on my own. And then that made the process a lot more difficult than I anticipated it would be, because I'm like, I want to rescue a dog. Let me rescue this dog and let me give it a good home. I promise I'm going to love it. I'm going to melt every time I see the dog. But it was a little harder than I anticipated, actually.
Yeah.
well, that's what I do at Sweet Buffalo is I try my best to make it as easy for people as possible. Like I'm not a rescue, but I work with all the rescues. So if I can make somebody's day a little easier to navigate that so they don't go to a breeder, that's what I want to do. We don't want people going to breeders and adopting dogs if they don't have to, because those dogs are just sitting at the shelter waiting to be adopted.
Helping dogs and kids. I mean, that's a lot of really good causes, right? Everybody's got to help that.
I love that. There was a couple of years ago, we were doing a show and someone came on from a rescue spot and they said one of the things that rises during the holiday season, people normally buy dogs as
Like
presents.
presents,
And they're like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And I'm like, well, that's a great present. They're like, don't do that because it's a big responsibility for the other person. Don't surprise them.
Let's
Right.
talk
Have to
about
be-
this. Let's talk about
yes.
this during the commercial.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
I didn't want to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No.
But
I
saw it in the
appreciate that.
peripheral because in the last break we already went over a little bit, so I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do it again.
You guys have to see Alyssa's eyes when we go over time, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Over
You
there
get
in
like
the
one of
corner.
those big boxes on Christmas morning, and then
Yeah.
there's a little puppy in it, and you're
Yeah,
like, I
and
mean,
they're
it's
like, "Don't do
adorable,
that."
but that's a lot to put on somebody.
Yeah.
That's a crazy amount of work.
Yeah.
Puppies are hard, Puppies and kittens are a lot of work.
And they're for life. Like
They're for
you
life.
don't give them up. So
No.
if you want to do that, you better know that they're going to be with you for the rest of the remainder of their lives. So.
Chloe, you're being such a good girl here.
She is
It's
a
the
good
bestest girl.
She
Yeah,
loves getting rubs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, dogs are growing up not with a dog and then like transitioning to having one. It is something that my wife and I think, disagree on to a point, because I think now that we have Harper, we love Harper more than anything. Harper is 4. I hope Harper lives another 50 years.
Yeah.
But my wife, I don't think, wants to be a pet person for the rest of her life.
No?
I don't think so. I think she's like, there are times when it becomes, it can limit you. Of
Yeah.
You can't do this, you can't do this. You want it because you want to give the dog the best life possible. But I am so much dog. I want a dog for the rest of my life, and I don't think that I could function if I didn't be. You get home and the dog sits there, and they're like, "Hi, it's good to see you." They're always so happy to see you. Like that's such a good feeling.
Yeah.
So are you guys like let the dog do anything, everything? Like,
No,
does
we're-
the dog sleep in the bed? Does
No, our dog sleeps.
Yeah. Kim's like,
yes, she
absolutely.
does.
The look she get, absolutely.
There is no other way to sleep.
Yeah, right. Dog does not sleep in the bed. Dog will either sleep on the couch or like in a doggy bed or something, just kind of wherever she decides that she wants to be the most comfortable. Yeah, I mean she's a good girl, but we are pretty protective. I mean, you heard me talk about our daughter yesterday,
yeah.
and like I'm a psycho, so I'm the same way with like a dog. So like the dog doesn't go outside unless she's like harnessed or on a leash, and like I have like a lot of like Please don't run away. Like, please don't get hit by a car. Like, I need you to be
I
as
get
safe
it,
as
I get
humanly
it.
possible.
I get it. Do you think dogs can take on their owner's personality?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you seen
Probably.
it?
Have I seen it?
Yeah. Have you seen dogs take on their owner's personalities?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think my dogs are just like, I don't know, they're just a little crazy. So I guess I'm crazy then. I guess I'll own up to it.
We're all crazy. Everybody's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is true. That is true.
Let's talk more about Sweet Buffalo in the final
Yeah,
segment and some
let's
of the
do
other stuff
that.
that you guys got
Yeah.
going on.
Oh, Donna says, I adopted 2 kittens from the SPCA. My second one I adopted last Friday.
Nice.
Thank
That
you
is
so much.
cool.
All right, we're coming back in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Studio 7. We're having a great time with Kim from Sweet Buffalo. And Kim, I know, well, Matt, I know you had some questions about Sweet Buffalo.
So you said we've talked a lot about animals, but you've also talked
Yeah.
about how you guys can help families and kids and things like that. So kind of go a little bit more into that aspect of it, if you don't mind, and then how people who are listening and watching can help.
Yeah, so I started a charity called Sweet Buffalo Rocks about 6 years ago, and we were painting and hiding rocks in Western New York, and it took off.
Yep.
And so with that, I saw that there were a lot of kids that needed a smile. So we started Sweet Buffalo Rocks to raise the funds to bring smiles to children in need. So there might be a child who's battling cancer, and I'll team up with Niagara Down Under, and I'll bring a kangaroo to their house. If a child, is looking for a present to make them smile, I'll come and bring them that. There was because all these stories are sent to me, so that's how I learn about them. There was a young man, he was walking this summer from the pool, and he unfortunately got hit by a car. So then it was his birthday, and his mother said that not a lot of people were going to come to his birthday, and would really appreciate it if people would just drive by and wish him a happy birthday. So of course I posted that story and heard that he wanted like one of those gaming PCs.
Sure.
And I just showed up and brought it to him.
Yeah.
So it's things like that, and of course he was so happy with that.
Of course.
It's just things like I could think of outside of the box that might bring a child a smile that's going through a difficult time like that,
Yeah.
where they're really bummed, they're really down. But I can just, bring my friends and show up with kangaroos and other weird animals to make them smile.
Yeah. And Kim, I know you can speak endlessly about our community because our community has showed up
Yes.
for Sweet Buffalo, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Talk
And
to-
you guys too. The media has shown up for Sweet Buffalo. I couldn't do it
Yeah.
without you guys either.
Yeah, Sweet Buffalo, the community has showed up. And throughout the years, I've just watched you blossom. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's an honor.
Yeah, thank you for what you do.
There may have been a Sweet Buffalo connection to this. This was a long time ago because I've worked at Channel 7 now for 11 years. But before I was in sports, I was in news. And one of the most impactful stories I ever remember doing was there was a little boy who was sick, and he didn't go to school for several months because of his illness. And he had a birthday party, but they were worried that nobody was going to come because like he hadn't been in school for several months. And I think it was even dating back to the previous school year. So he had been home, he had been sick, and he wasn't able to go and make the normal amount of friends. So we did a story because his mom asked for people to send birthday cards. And I don't know if you connected us with them, but I remember doing the story 10 years ago. And you go on the news and you're like, hey, there's this little boy, I believe he lived in either Depew or Cheektowaga, and he just really wants birthday cards because he's not going to be able to have a normal birthday party and people aren't going to come. And I remember there were just the outpouring of support and the thousands of cards that people sent, and like those are the things that you remember because it's like all that kid wanted was people to send him birthday cards, and then the community stepped up. So I think that's one of the reasons why your organization is so powerful, is because you can bring moments like that to people consistently in a way that other people can't. So it's really impressive.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if that was a Sweet Buffalo connection, if that's how we found the story all those years ago,
yeah.
but I, to this day, think back and like that was one of the more impactful ones that I remember doing as a news reporter.
Yeah. And
There's
go ahead.
more stories like that. There's there was a child who was he wanted his yearbook signed at school, and nobody would sign his yearbook. So then, we posted a story. The community stepped up, and everybody signed his yearbook, including dogs, rescue dogs from Buddy's Second Chance Rescue Team, and they put their paw prints on just to make them smile. And so stuff like that, it's really just makes a difference, just to let people know like you care. That's all. Just all people want to know is that you care sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people don't realize how simple it is to reach out to you.
Yes. It's
Tell
very
them how
simple.
simple it is.
You could just follow us on Sweet Buffalo on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and just send us a message, send us a story. We're happy to help. It doesn't take a lot of time out of my day to share a story and to organize something like this, because like I said, I'm really lucky for the community. I'm really lucky to have friends like you guys that, you know, will post our stories and
Yeah.
share as well, because if I just did it alone, you know, it wouldn't reach so much. But because of the news and you guys always help me out, and I really appreciate that.
How can people who are listening and watching help you? How can they get this understand what you guys need and make you be able to do even more for the community?
You know what we do? We often team up with businesses, which is really good. So a local business can help a child or a family in need. So for instance, Canal Club 62, they read our stories all the time. So
Great restaurant. You know
yeah,
about
it's
Canal
so
Club?
good.
I haven't been.
Chicken Milanese,
yeah.
so good.
It's a,
Yeah.
I'm a Wheatfield guy, but Wheatfield is right on the border of North Tonawanda.
I'm gonna have to go.
So we're NT, you know, they got some great restaurants in North Tonawanda right now. Shout out Canal Club. I didn't know they help out. That's great.
Nice.
Sorry.
They do.
Sorry.
They do. So what they'll do is they'll see a story of a little girl named Sophia who's battling cancer in the hospital. They'll say, we want to make a Sophia sangria. They'll sell the Sophia sangrias, and then they'll, you know, send a check for $1,500 for a family that
nice.
needs it while they're struggling in the hospital to pay medical bills and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, you know, a business can just reach out. Let's come up with an idea,
Sure.
whether that be for a child or a family or a dog or a cat. Just reach out and collaborate. And it's, you know, it's a nice thing to do. And it doesn't take much time, like I said, to help out like that.
Is the need elevated right now as we approach the holiday season? You know, we're
Yes.
kind of in the final month before Christmas. I would imagine this is going to be a pretty busy time for you guys.
Yes. So I have a lot of friends that are collecting toys. Be a Blessing Buffalo is one of them, and then also Totally Buffalo Cares. So we team up with businesses. 'Cause I don't need to be a toy collector when my friends have their own organizations that
Yeah.
are doing this, and I want to help them. So we'll team up with businesses. So if you're a business that wants to collect toys, you know, Thanksgiving hasn't hit yet, reach out.
Yep.
We'll get you all situated, and let's collect these toys for these kids and other things, and also things for the homeless as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kim is the great connector.
Yeah,
What-
that's what I
Thank
want to
you
do.
for what you do.
And what about for last people, if they're interested in helping animals, what should they do?
If you're interested in helping animals, just reach out. Hello at sweetbuffalo716.com
Okay.
and send me a message, and let's talk.
All right. Chloe was really good.
Chloe was
Chloe
fabulous.
was a very good girl. Maybe I can use this as a leveraging point of eventually getting my golden retriever.
We'll take
that
a-
I don't know, but
want.
Alyssa is yelling over there. Alyssa
Yeah.
is saying we have to go.
We have to go.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.